liberal that explicitly, in his own words, has woke up to the fact that a manufactured post-World War II liberal consensus was forced upon society, and that Mr. Conservative Bill Buckley went around, and his job was to edge out the true right, which is now awakening. So there would be this mainstream but milquetoast conservative movement
Oh my
that was really
God,
neocons that had
James.
absolutely nothing to do with true conservatism or true rightism, right wing.
What is true conservatism? Because it's not fucking classical liberalism, James. I do not want the right to be classically fucking liberal. A classical liberal right means the left wins. This is why I go after James Lindsay. This is not a petty internet feud. This is a very, very real ideological difference. I care about defeating the left. I care about beating back the communist cultural revolution in this country. James Lindsay cares about money and fucking internet clout, and that is it. Because the only way that we beat back the socialist, communist, Marxist left in this country is we fucking acknowledge that classical liberalism is one of the things that landed us in this position in the first place, and that might not be nice for people to hear, but that's just simply the truth. When we, and listen, in my personal heart of hearts, I'm an anarcho-capitalist. I'm literally a fucking, I don't want the government to exist. That's in my heart of hearts, though. I think that's a beautiful philosophy. But when you encounter a scenario where that philosophy cannot work, then you have to be a fucking adult and say, you know what? You don't always get what you want. Life is unfair, and sometimes you need to do what is required to solve a problem, even if that is not the thing that you want to do. I would love nothing more than to see a roadmap to using libertarianism or anarcho-capitalism in order to prevent a far-left takeover of this country. I would love that. I don't see that as a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen. And the same, and for the same reason that classical liberalism is not going to stop it. Because the thing of it is, if you're expecting the left if you're expecting to beat the left in a battle of ideas, where everyone comes to the debate table and they all wear their tuxedo like in the Oxford Union, and they all debate based on the merits of the ideas, do you know what's going to happen? Well, the left is pretending to debate with you, which they're not even really going to do that because they don't really give a fuck. They're going to be in the background continuing to advance their ideology, push into the institutions, take over as many things as possible, destabilize as many things as possible. The left is never going to stop. And a classical liberal debate about the left is never going to prevent them from keep making progress. In fact, the classical liberal debate, when James gets all dressed up in his tuxedo and he goes and debates in the Oxford Union, darling. Like, when that happens, James is actually running cover for the real left because it's a distraction. James is literally the magician's assistant that's twirling around in her sparkly fucking dress with her boobs out and her butt out over here, while the real far left is doing the fucking magic trick over here. This is where the trick is happening. This is where the problem is. James Lindsay's dancing around the fucking stage. Over here, he's distracting everyone. He's running cover for the magician who is doing the real magic trick. And again, this is not something that, like, I actually came to this after a lot of thought. This wasn't something I just came to. This wasn't something that I was like, oh, I want to appeal to Nick Fuentes and the Grippers, so I'm going to say I'm a fucking fascist. No, this was after literally years of thinking about this and being like, how does this work? How does this work? I also tried to organize within the Libertarian Party. I tried to be a part of that. Let me tell you what. Libertarians are their own worst goddamn enemy. The Libertarian Party right now is almost in bankruptcy. The whole thing is failing. It is filled with infighting. They can't do fucking anything. They're bickering over who the fucking presidential candidate. Like, the Libertarian Party is a goddamn disgrace. So you're expecting me to say, this is the thing that's going to save us all. No, it's not. I tried for years. In that system. I know all the players in that system. I know what it's like to try to wrangle libertarians to do anything. They're not going to do it. And so even if anarcho-capitalism is a beautiful philosophy, which it is not realistic in the real world to say that we are going to implement that to save us. And it is also not realistic to say classical liberalism, if we just get dressed up in a tuxedo and we go and debate these things with our pinky finger out and our glass of whiskey and our cigars. Like that's not realistic to save us either. There are real fucking problems in this world that are going to impact real people. And based on my read of the far left, and I've watched more far left training over the past 3 years than anyone in the fucking world. And if you think I haven't, you give me a name of someone who has watched more than I do. Give me a name. Because I'd like to talk to them, and that's real. But based on my read of the far left, we've got maybe 15 years left before they actually try to violently overthrow the US government. That is the pace that we're working on. It is going to happen in our lifetimes. And if people don't start waking the fuck up, that there is a real fucking problem, and they are organized, and they are making progress every goddamn day. And every day that we have to listen to this woke right bullshit or infighting on Twitter or whatever the fuck complaints that people have, every single day that we are distracted by this bullshit, and every single time that James Lindsay lies to people over and over and over and over and over again about this is really the biggest problem, guys. The woke right is the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that we're not classically liberal enough. They're making progress and they're just gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. Do not listen to anyone on the right that says, we're winning, bro. Pinky swear, trust me, we're winning. They're so full of shit, it's not even funny. And anyone that watches the real far left with me knows this. And if you don't believe me, come to a Socialism Saturday. Come to one of my normal streams about the left. I will show you explicitly what the left is saying. I will show you explicitly how they're organizing. This is stuff that James Lindsay doesn't even know exists. They are winning. We are in a lot of fucking trouble. They are making direct attacks on parental rights all over the country right now, which means they're trying to take your kids away from you. Now. Currently, in the real fucking world. And it's only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I'm sitting over here trying to ring the alarm bell and say, have you assholes actually fucking looked at this fucking problem? And the retards on Twitter are going, she's crazy. Don't look at her video content. She's crazy. Fuck you guys. That's how I feel about this. Fuck all of you who have this evidence right at your fingertips. I tried to tell you for fucking years, and you couldn't be bothered to watch a primary source video because you're too busy reading on Twitter to feed your goddamn outrage addiction. Oh my gosh, she's so crazy. She's so crazy. Karlyn sent me a DM with a video. That bitch is crazy. Go fuck yourselves. And they think Trumpy Dumpy is going to save them, and that's all better humor than SNL. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't even know what started me on that rant, but that's how I feel. There are real problems in the world. If people don't start waking up, listen, man, I don't have kids. So, I don't have any spawn that's going to suffer when the left does eventually win and takes over fucking everything. But a lot of you do. A lot of you do have kids. And if people don't start waking up and doing something to push back against this problem, it's not just you that's going to suffer. It's your kids that are going to suffer more. And it's your grandkids that are going to suffer more than that. And James likes to say that I'm psychologically manipulating people when I say that to join my fucking cult. Nah, man, that's telling the truth. That's telling the truth. And that is a truth that people need to hear. And that is a truth that people need to be responsive to. Because if you're not willing to fight for your kids, then what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Hinge back into reality. It's time to grow up. And so LaQuisha says, and I don't disagree with this. I agree classical liberalism can't be a solution anymore. I just don't know what is. I'm nervous about appealing to authoritarianism to defeat the left, but I do not. Yeah, I mean, LaQuisha's, I'm not unsympathetic to this idea, bro. I'm really not. I'm not unsympathetic to this at all. And it's like one of those things, right, where I don't see any other way. And that actually makes me incredibly, incredibly sad. I don't see any other way. The left is not going to stop. They're just not. And We don't have enough people on our side to fight back. And this is why I do what I do. This is why I've been screaming about this shit for years. This is why I spend 6 days a week teaching this stuff, to be able to try to show as many people as I can. And I just run into these fucking roadblocks over and over and over again of these ridiculous people on Twitter who are just hell-bent on undermining everything to maintain their fucking gravy train and maintain their clout and all this stuff. And it's just like, I don't see any other way. I really just don't. And you know what? It makes me so angry. I am so angry at the people who've let this happen. But I don't know any other way than to figure out a way to find the correct dictator, for lack of a better term. Like, to find the correct sort of dictator to lead us all. Find the correct Catholic king. I'm even open to that, honestly, and I say that as like a non-Christian. It's like, maybe Nick Fuentes is actually right about that. Maybe it would make things better. Maybe it would. I don't know. That's not realistic, of course. That's not going to happen in our lifetimes, and I know that's not realistic, but it's just like, you know, it is what it is.